Hi, sir. Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Can I start off by getting your name, please?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Timmy.
You're Timmy. And how old are you, Timmy?
4.
You're 4.
Yeah.
Welcome to Biscuit Studios. It's a very empty-looking room at the moment, but we've got some bits coming. We've got some big banners with Daddy's picture on, and the logo and things. So, what have you been doing today, Timmy?
So, at football, I scored a goal.
Oh my gosh, you went to football and you scored a goal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well done. Try not to touch the mic, buddy. It's very heavy. And I don't want to... Timmy,
Yeah.
what's behind there? What is it? Yeah, you got to speak into the microphone, buddy.
Your picture.
My picture, yeah, because Daddy's vain. It's more to tell people about the biscuit. It's a nice little thing to read. Are you looking forward to Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So, everything around us is here.
Everything around us is here.
Yeah.
Philosophically, that's brilliant. Okay, so you're looking forward to Christmas. What's on your Christmas list? What would you like for Christmas?
I will want some wine toys.
Ryan toys?
Yeah. And some Avengers.
Some Avengers toys?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And Thanos toys.
Don't mess with the mic. And what have you got to do to be able to get those presents?
Do a list.
No, but I mean, like, you've got to be a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who's watching?
Santa. And we saw him.
You saw Santa?
Yeah.
Where?
That way.
That way?
Yeah.
Was it at the light switch, when we went to the light switch, when they switched all the Christmas lights on?
No.
Today?
No.
When did you see him? Today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
I went to the inside.
To the microphone.
Inside. What did we go, Mama?
Speak into the microphone.
Shopping centre.
We went to the shopping centre.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And what did he say? Did he say that Did you tell him you were being a good boy?
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, he's done. Thank you very much, Timmy. And yeah, we're going to put that on the episode.
You're welcome.
We'll put that on the episode. We'll put that on the episode. Day at the parade. My son visits me at Biscuit Studios.
At the Alp, so
Yeah, we've done all sorts. This is going to be day 1 at the parade.
yeah.
I'm recording, by the way.
Cool.
Let's just get into this.
Let's get into it.
This is our first day recording here. I want to say thank you to everyone that's accommodated us here. This temporary little studio that we're going to use, this is going to be basically where we keep our mobile studio that we can move around to events and things like that. So I want to say thank you for that. And what we're going to be doing today is what we've initially done today is get around and introduce ourselves, really.
Yep, chatted to all the different unit shop businesses, those that are open at the moment, just said who we are, what we're doing here, how we're going to help promote the parade and the businesses within the parade, and then obviously share to Shrewsbury and the world on our weekly podcasts and our mid-weekly crumbs.
Yeah, this is going to be our base of operations. It's just, since I posted on our social media that, Biscuit Studios is open for business, blah, blah, blah. We've had lots of input, lots of people coming in to us and saying they want to come and record here, which is great. This is why we did what we did, and why we're grateful for it. Bit of housework before we get into this episode, because this is going to be a mishmash of different people we're going to speak to from the parade. Stan Sedman's coming in later, and we got Mike from Salop Tech as well is going to speak to us. And I think Tat Efby's going to pop in and say hello. I love Tat; she's great. Anyway, I got a humbug in my mouth, which is really bad for recording. Got a couple of shout-outs to do. The first one is basically to Dan Thornhill and someone else. For the crumbs, I used a bit of music that was originally our theme tune. And I swapped it because Charlie Adlard's got a band called Cosmic Rays with Shane Chebsey, and I asked them if I could use some of their music, and they said yes, and I was like, Charlie Adlard or Dan Thornhill. And I made the choice to go with Charlie Adlard, obviously. But, I love that music, and it's by a band called Someone Else. And I love that song so much. I thought I'd bring it back for the crumbs because it's a really nice, jumpy, sort of great song. So thank you to Dan. I did message him and ask permission, and he said that's fine. So thank you to that. You were working on the light switch, weren't you?
Yes, I missed the lights, gutted, but I was busy working in the market hall, so I saw the lights when I came out instead.
I was going to come and see you, but when you messaged me and said it was rammed, I was like, yeah, because Timmy, he has an issue with sort of confined spaces and loud noises. He absolutely. We were in the front of the main stage, and I went there kind of more as a family guy, kind of want to enjoy it, throw a bit of social media up, take some pictures, kind of thing. I took the mic anyway. I had to say on social media, if you see me, come say hello. But I wasn't going to go looking for it, And he had a complete meltdown.
Oh, bless. We
had to take him away from the main stage and stuff. We'd stand on the side, and then we saw the lantern parade, and we went and stood at the bottom of Pride Hill, and we heard the 10, 9, 8, 7, and then we saw the lights lit up, and then we went and saw Shrewdorf. It was really, really good. But what we did see was the choir, rock choir, that were performing before. I think I threw up a couple of social media, sort of Facebook Lives of them singing. Absolutely fantastic. And do you know what? When you see the guys waving, the conductors at the beginning of the front of choirs.
Oh, yeah.
I never understood what they do. I really, honestly, it's just more my ignorance than anything. But I was watching the lady at the front doing the conductor thing, and she was controlling their movements, their pitch, everything. She was,
wow.
It was fantastic. I could see what she was doing. And she was making them move in certain ways, making certain parts of the choir sing, and then, bringing it all back. It was just really nice to watch. And they sounded fantastic, so shout out to them. I'd love to get them on, speak to them. This sweet. Charlie Adlard has got a range of Christmas cards out. He's basically done his Charlie Adlard stylings of buildings, and they look fantastic. And the proceeds, all of the proceeds for these cards will go to the Hive. And
where are they being sold?
They're being sold at the Hive, at Stop Cafe, and at Shrewsbury Framing Studio.
Yeah.
I should know that because they framed my Shrewsbury thing that I've still got in my house. I still need to auction for charity. Also, there's an event going on next week for that Shropshire Cat Rescue are doing, and it's called Moggy's Christmas Wonderland, and that's on Saturday the 30th of November and Sunday the 1st of December. It's looking on this sweet. I bumped into Susan yesterday. I was walking around the parade, sort of saying hello to people, setting up the studio, and we'd spoken on social media and things, but never actually bumped into each other face to face. It's always really nice, isn't it, to meet someone that you've kind of had a connection with online.
Yeah.
And she was very nice. And I said we'd work with the Shropshire Cat Rescue next, organise some shows when we were here. So the charity shop's around the corner. So that'll be really cool to do that. So make sure you check out their Facebook to find out more details about Moggy's Christmas Wonderland. And also, you've been busy, haven't you?
Yes. I'm second week in now. I launched my new business, which is a dog walking and pet visiting service. So quite overwhelmed in the first week as to how many doggy clients I've got. And obviously I'll talk a little bit more about that in another sort of like crumb snippet we do for something that we've decided will be good for the podcast team for Shrewsbury Biscuit, and hopefully help local businesses out. But we'll talk about that separately.
Yeah, we will.
It's about sponsorship though. That's the clue.
I just want to say congratulations on your business and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
It sounds like it's a great thing. It really is. Now, we're at the parade now, and we're going to be here till sort of the end of February, I think, as and when we want to record. You think it's really important that we're kind of in and around town?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think definitely here, like we said, it's from the outside, this building, it doesn't even look like a shopping centre. It looks like a historical building that maybe you might have to pay to go in. Yeah. Tourists, obviously, most tourists will go off the beaten track and explore the back streets and find places like this, but locals don't possibly even know that this is what it is anymore. They just remember it from being a hospital.
Yeah, and it is a fantastic place. Today what we've done is we've gone around most of the shops today in the parade and introduced ourselves. We are the Shrewsbury Biscuit. We're here to kind of promote Shrewsbury as a whole, but we're in the parade. So whilst we're here, if you want to pop in and say hello and talk about what you do, then you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
And whilst we were doing that, I was just noticing how beautiful some of the shops are here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stunning.
Like we went to Beadles across the way, Gill, who we'll hopefully speak to in a sec, and we went to Setanakai next door.
Yep.
Beautiful. They sell bits and spices and trinkets from all around the world. It looks beautiful. And also as well, like next door, it's the second-hand
books.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like I just walked in there, just got the smell of books, which I love. It's weird because you don't get to. I mean, I haven't got like a library at home. I know people. Some of my friends do have like bookcases all around their house, and you can probably get the smell all the time. But to smell that was kind of like it took me back.
Well, that's a particular smell because it's like old books as well, isn't it? It's got some really old books in there, so they've got another smell again.
Yeah. So this place is one of the most, I think, important. It's beautiful. One of the most beautiful buildings that holds shops in the town because you've got the modern Darwin Centre, you've got the Market Hall, which is your typical bustling, atmospheric market. Whereas this place is, like you said, a historic building, and you're walking around and these beautiful shops everywhere.
Hidden behind St Mary's, so again, it's not something you can spot straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully, that's what we're here to do, though. Help promote it. Help people let people know where to come.
Yeah, and we've got some good things lined up as well. We're hopefully speaking to Martin Wood on the 25th. He's going to come here and do a chat with us, which is the town crier. And we're going to be struggling a lot with the echo in this building. We've got some acoustic solutions that we're looking at, but at the moment we're going to be trying to like talk quietly into the mics, not let the. I don't mind a bit of atmospherics in my audio, but.
There's echo and there's echo.
Martin Wood's got a big booming voice, and that's going to be hilarious.
We need smaller chairs, don't we, for Martin? Or we need to raise the microphones higher.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right, okay, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to go and grab a few interviews and throw it on the end of this, and hope you guys are well.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Peace out. Okay, so I've pressed record. Okay, now let's just forget that there's microphones in front of us and there's headphones on our head and things like that, because I know you're a little bit nervous about doing this, but don't worry about it because that's kind of normal. Mm-hmm. This is very alien. I think it was Jim Hawkins that came on the show and said, when you go to a radio station or things like that, it looks alien. It looks very odd, so that it kind of throws people off. But, this is just a chat between us. We launched Biscuit Studios, a temporary studio at the parade, which we can take around town and do our bits. But while we're here, we're introducing the traders to people, and you very kindly being the first one to come on the show. So thank you very much.
That's a nice background noise we've got there.
Yeah, and here's me going, oh, don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. And it's me like, let's just push this microphone closer into your face.
Yeah.
Gill, thank you very much for joining us today. I know. Do you want to talk about sort of what you do, what your business is? It's called Beadles, right?
Yeah, I'm Beadles, and I'm in the parade, and I've been here nearly 20 years.
Wow.
And I make costume jewellery. I make it with resin, glass, also beads. I do commissions for people as well as selling it in the shop.
Your shop is beautiful, by the way. We were in there today, and I was outside yesterday, and I was just talking about how when you've got a shop that looks the way yours does, you've got to be so proud of what you've put together, right?
Yeah, I like to colour block everything, and I like working with colour. So, yeah.
And that's really obvious when you walk into your shop because the visual, it hits you straight away because there's all these pretty colours everywhere. Guys, we just want to explain, we are indoors. That isn't a, a model aeroplane flying around us.
Or a dying alpaca.
No, they're just trying to sort out the Christmas lights, and what that means is they've just got to do a quick bit of drilling in here, so bear with us.
You say you've been here 20 years, and how is it like, how does things compare now to like 20 years ago?
Oh, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
Trade-wise, what with the internet and everything.
We've got Amazon, things like that. Yeah,
that's right, definitely.
And how do you feel like you can use that to your advantage. You know, with this day and age. That's so ironic, isn't it? We've been waiting here all day to record, and so yeah, this day and age, you say there's competition with things online, but the thing is, with your shop, you can go in and you can look, you can probably try things on, and
yeah, and that's what people say. They like to get a feel of it. They can try it on. I can alter it, or I can do one a slightly different shade, and it's tactile. They can sort of see the size of it and everything, which if you buy online, you can't sort of get the exact shade. I mean, I like in certain things, like a dragonfly, I might do 6 different shades of green, or I can, if that's not right, I can still sort of match it up to the customer's outfit and sort of make another one.
And you make all this while you're in store?
I do, yes, yeah.
That's amazing.
I used to take work home, but I don't anymore now.
Oh, that's really important.
So, yeah.
How important that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool, because so you're kind of splitting yourself in two, really. You're a salesperson and you're the creator in the same space. How is that for you? Can it be a bit too much sometimes?
Sometimes, yes. If you're sort of in the middle of pouring resin or mixing resin, and you've only got like a 20-minute time slot, and then you'll get a customer coming in that sort of wants your attention, which that's what I'm there for. But sometimes it is a bit difficult,
because what you're doing is art as well. And when you, I mean, I know I'm do a lot of like posters, social media things, and I do it all on my tablet here. But once I get in that zone, it's very hard to get me out of it.
That's right. Yes.
You know, I like the world can pass me by whilst I'm doing all this, and I won't even realise. So, have you had any scenarios where you've been working on something really intricate? Somebody's come in, and maybe the glass is dried, and you've got to start all over again.
Yes. And the other week, I was just trying out some acrylic pours, which I coat with resin, and I was mixing it all up in the cups, and I was just flipped it over to pour onto the canvas, and somebody comes in then, and they and you can't sort of move. You've got sort of rubber gloves on, and your hands are full of paint, and you're twisting the picture around, trying to turn it into different angles, so the customer has to wait then.
But that's the beautiful thing about, like we were talking about, compared to online, compared to your store, is that people can come in and see you actually physically making these things. You don't get that online.
No, that's true.
And so you're getting a very unique piece of art. And they are beautiful. We had a good look around, and there's some of the pendants and like you said, costume jewelry. It just looks fantastic. Have you ever changed in kind of what you sell and what you produce over the years?
Besides making all my jewellery now, I tend to have gifts as well, and scarves and things in. So if what I have doesn't appeal to them, there's the other side as well. So if they need to buy gifts for somebody, they don't like my style of jewellery. Most people do, but...
Yeah, I was saying, obviously you've got that time of year coming up now, haven't you, where there's probably going to be a lot of people in?
Hopefully,
looking for gifts.
Yeah, last week was busy, so...
And right now we have you out of your store.
It obviously isn't helping you.
So I really appreciate that.
What are your sort of opening days?
I open Monday to Saturday.
Okay, so 6 days here?
Yeah, a lot of people don't open Mondays here, but I do 6 days and juggling the housework on Sunday. And then I sort of do like 9 till 4.
Okay, so there's a good opportunity for people to come in here, because I've wandered around in here a couple of days, and I'm sort of wandering around thinking, there's not many units open.
Yeah, and like Monday, I can do better on a Monday than a Saturday sometimes. Shopping days have totally changed.
Yeah, of course.
Saturday used to always be your busiest day. It isn't necessarily anymore.
Yeah, because I feel like this place is probably naturally falls into the casual shopper kind of thing. So people are just having a wonder around Shrewsbury. What's going on in the parade today? So whereas like Saturdays, your high street, we need to go to Marks and Spencer's to do this. That makes sense to me. And what I was going to say. Think of something to say, Julie.
Well, no, I'm not going to think of anything to say. I know what I'm going to say. Well. So it's interesting to hear. You've been here 20 years. So obviously, I know you spoke about in terms of like what you've got in the store and how you've changed that over a period of time. Do you have like what I call a dedicated customer base? So have you got customers that just keep coming back to you all the time? Or?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so...
some I lose, they move away and things, but yeah, I do, and I do quite often. There's one lady who comes in and she brings her outfits in every few weeks, and we pick all the beads out.
Oh, wow.
And, and she.
Yeah, because that's what I noticed when I came in, because you normally sort of, first of all, you think you're coming in and you've got your jewellery's made up, but you've got that whole sort of big table full of just beads. And it's like a pick... No, it's not a mess. It's like, I saw it as a pick and mix.
Yeah, that's my organised mess. I know where everything is on that table, So.
Do you have people as well coming to you and asking for advice on how to make things?
Yes, I do, yeah.
And so like somebody's looking to my auntie used to make jewellery. She used to make me bracelets and things, and earrings and all sorts. And, if you don't know how to do it.
Earrings, nice.
Yeah. I used to rock a Mr. T kind of object. But if somebody was looking to learn the craft, you'd happily give them a bit?
Yeah, they could sit down. I've got extra seats there. They could sit down and give them a bit of one-to-one. But hopefully, I know I should have done it ages ago. I might do some workshops.
That was a question I was going to ask you, workshops.
My confidence, I haven't got a lot of confidence, so it's...
We'll get you on the biscuit a few times. We'll work on that confidence for you, lady.
The thing is, it's the sort of thing, because it's something you know and other people don't know, people will be looking to you to help me, and it is a good idea to have a workshop so that you can, it's another revenue generator for you, and it's a skill set that you've got that lots of people don't have.
That's right, and I do a few resin workshops as well. So.
Oh, what's a resin workshop?
Well, it's showing them how to mix their resins, pigments, and using mica powders in, and to incorporate it in jewellery or with dried flowers. Or
okay.
So hopefully I might get that going in about February.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Cool.
What's your most popular item around Christmas to sell?
Popular item. Just trying to think now. My jewellery.
Yeah.
I sell more of my jewellery, I sell a lot of gifts and things as well, but sort of probably my dragonfly pendants and spaced out necklaces.
Spaced out? What's a spaced?
No, well, it's only a beaded necklace, but it's like in three or four strands.
Oh, so spaced out, literally spaced out.
Spaced out,
Nice. Well, listen. Thank you very much for talking to us. We see that was 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was fine.
Really nice.
That was good, yes.
Well, I want to get you on again because I know this was very hard for you because we were chatting yesterday about, so it seems quite daunting to come on and sit with a microphone in your face because you think, I don't know what to talk about, but this is your passion. You've been doing this for 20 years. Are you as passionate about it now as you were 20 years ago?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
It's getting to the stage now where I don't want to go online or anything like that. I just prefer to sell in my shop. But I think the next step I've got to...
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, and I think because your store is beautiful. I mean, guys, listening to this, pop to Beadles in the parade, and I'll be vindicated because it really is beautiful. And your store would absolutely... People would love it on Instagram. They would soak it up because it's...
pictures.
It would be locally sourced, beautifully made, jewellery and trinkets and things that people can buy and come and watch you make.
Well, I'm gonna take some pictures. You've kindly said we can do that, Jill,
that's fine.
and then we can put them out on Facebook. So I'll try and do some nice arty ones with lots of colour.
Okay.
Alex can then tamper with them in his technical way and make them look even better. And I think that will be a good thing as well. We give people a sort of visual. Through our Facebook page.
Absolutely. And you're going to be the first one, if you don't mind, signing our logbook. We have bought a logbook that all our guests are going to sign.
Like a little visitor's book.
Okay.
We'll get you to sign in and we'll sell it when one of you's, maybe somebody becomes famous or something.
Yeah. You never know.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And everybody listen, and check out Beadles because it is a beautiful store. If you're looking for a gift for your family over Christmas, that's the perfect place to start.
Yeah. Actually, and talking about that very quickly, when is your last sort of working day here for those last minute come in and get gifts?
Probably 12 o'clock Christmas Eve in the day.
Okay, brilliant. So any of those, I was going to say husbands then, but I won't. So any partners out there that need to get a last minute gift because you suddenly realised you've got until 12 o'clock, noon, Christmas Eve to come and grab something from
Or
Beadles.
if you want to come and buy me a Mr. T earring, you know.
Yeah, and leave it outside Unit 26.
Thank you very much for chatting.
thank
to us.
you.
Thank you, Jill.
We're going to do it like this. I mean, I popped into your shop yesterday and we hit it off very quickly, chatting about the football and stuff. So Mike, is it? Mike
Yes.
from Salop Tech.
Salop Technology. Yeah.
Salop Technology.
Yeah, Salop Tech, yeah.
How long have you guys been at the parade then?
We moved in here about 18 months ago. So,
Oh, really? So you're quite fresh, quite new here.
sort of October last year it was. So, but no, it's a fantastic building. It's
great to be part of, isn't it? I mean, we learned a lot about the history with Stan and Stan Sedman. He came in and spoke to us for about 40 minutes about the history of this building. Made me feel quite eerie, actually, knowing about what's gone on here.
That's it.
Have you been trading for a while then? Is this something you've always done?
Yeah, I mean, both me and Victoria have been in IT in Shrewsbury since we were sort of 18, 19, worked for various IT businesses. And sort of decided that we were going to set up on our own. So
How's it gone so far?
brilliant, yeah, it's gone really, really well. Couldn't have asked for it to have gone any better.
With a business like yours, it's quite a niche, isn't it? I mean, like if you need a computer or a PC, you go online and you look for someone, you source someone out. Usually that's how it go. Is that how it is for you, or do you get a lot of like people just browsing and be like, oh?
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people browsing. I think the big thing that we offer that you don't get from a place like Amazon and Currys is the help and support after you've purchased. So, I mean, we've sort of got two sort of businesses. We've got one that's sort of upstairs, does the sort of the domestic laptops, PCs, PC repairs, stuff like that. And then we do a lot of business support as well. So we do a lot of help a lot of the sort of small businesses around Shrewsbury as well.
You're probably going to hear a lot off me, by the way, because I'm going to be like, Mike,
Not a problem.
It's not working.
A problem at all.
Because I've got this issue at the moment with with this show and the other show that I do, that I want to get it on live on Facebook. And I've got this laptop here that when I run OBS, which is it's a video capturing software, it's kind of like no. And I think it's because this is a weakling of a laptop, in all honesty. So I do need to upgrade at some point when I get some money. We will. Maybe you can help me set up.
Yeah, of course
I'm
we
really
can.
desperate. I mean, it'd be great if we could get a camera in here and record some podcasts live. You know, let people know what's going on and the process. Because it's. I mean, we've been walking around the parade, trying to get people to come on, and they've been kind of like, no, it's really scary. It's really scary, but it's not. It's really not. You know, it's just. We're just chatting, you know.
That's it. I mean, to be fair, it's something I've done quite a lot through the football club. 'Cause I'm sort of support liaison officer there, so do quite a lot of this.
We spoke before. I mean, I've had Glenn on from Salopcast.
Yeah.
Have you been on Salopcast before?
I have many times.
He's a good guy, Glenn.
He is.
He's actually been really like. Lately, he's been offering a lot of support, and I'd love to get him back in here to chat. And you know, he knows a lot about the town.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
He's got a vast pool of knowledge. So we definitely want to get him on as well. And I would like to do more with the football club. You know, I'm not a massive supporter of the club. I'm a Chelsea fan. Well, we have gone to a few games. I like to take my little boy to get the atmosphere. I remember last year we had him in the crowd and he was shouting, Dino. You know, it's just great atmosphere to be part of. So how long have you had these sort of ties with the club then, and where did that come from?
To be fair, it's sort of been years. I've been a season ticket holder since I was sort of 8-9 years old, and then sort of got involved in the supporters groups, helped the club put safe standing in, which myself and another guy, Roger Groves, sort of spearheaded, and we ended up having to go to Parliament and do all the work behind that. Got the safe standing into the south stand there. And because of all the work we had done with that, the football club then approached us to become support liaison officers. So we've both this season become SLOs. So
what does a support liaison do?
We basically liaise with the fans. And so it's, we're sort of the bridge between the football club and the fans. So if the fans have got any issues or they want to raise anything with the club and don't really want to go directly, they can talk to us, and then we basically meet with the club pretty much every couple of weeks, and basically, work out those issues.
Oh, fantastic! So you're the guy that the club will listen to, rather than, whoa, you should sack that manager, he's useless, you know?
Yeah, we try and sort of steer away from what's going on the pitch, because, you know, that's something that we can't control, but we can control, you know, the match day experience, you know, how the fans interact with the football club. So yeah, that's what we're there to do.
Yeah, and how are you finding this season?
Yeah, brilliant so far. We're doing really well. Yeah, so hopefully,
Yeah, but you're like,
it will.
I didn't come on here to talk about football.
No, to be fair, it's one thing I'll talk about all day. So, but no, it's great to be involved. We were at a gala dinner last night for the community department, and just looking to see what they do and the amount of interaction they have with the community. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And how are you finding interacting with people within the parade here? Because we had our first sort of experience of, you know, as in regards to your business, of course. Just switch the subject. How are you finding like the community here with the other traders?
It's great. I think everybody here, you know, we're all sort of smaller businesses. We're all quite niche as well. So we've all got the same sort of issues that we have with footfall and stuff like that. We looked all over town for premises. The big issue we have is security, because obviously the kit that we carry,
A lot of money,
we weren't suited for somewhere like Pride Hill and Darwin, purely because there was too much footfall, and it would have meant employing another extra couple of members of staff purely from a security point of view. So it's you know, it's a fantastic building to be in.
I was talking to someone from PC World a few weeks ago. It was about last week, and he was talking about how people come in and just rip tablets off the displays and stuff. I can imagine that being an issue for you.
That's the problem. You know, if you've got a lot of people in the store at once, you know, we've only got a limited amount of staff, but you know, this place is ideal really for us. You know, great community here. Everyone looks after each other. Yeah, I mean, I've just gone to get coffee from Jules at the Riverview, and she was like, 165 during the parade. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I had no idea. But yeah, I compared this yesterday to Stan to a Middle Eastern bazaar. It's kind of like you walk through and it's just anything and everything here, you know? It is. I mean, it's an unbelievable building. I mean, obviously with it being the old hospital, and you know, everybody in Shrewsbury knows it as the old RSI. And you sort of walk through the building, and it's still got that feel about it of, you know, the old wards and the you know, the wings and stuff like that.
The romance hasn't died on you yet, then?
No, I love stuff like this. You know, I love buildings like this, the older buildings in Shrewsbury especially. And yeah, this is one that hasn't lost its character at all.
I was stood waiting, because I've got to collect the key every morning to let myself in and then give them the key back. And I was waiting on the steps to see the caretaker. And I was just looking through the pillars and seeing me. I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, I've got, you know, a studio here. Like, it's just nuts. It's really crazy. It is. And I love it.
Yeah. No, it is a fantastic building, and I'm guessing you've not come across the ghost yet, but
I work at the prison. I work at the prison. We've dealt with stuff like that.
Yeah.
That there was an occasion where I did kind of, you know, get scared. I was going to nearly swore then. But I'm kind of comfortable with stuff like that. The Golden Quarter, Christmas coming up.
Yeah.
Is that a big thing for you, or is it just the same? Because computers are a big thing to buy, aren't they?
Yeah, it does get busy in the run up to Christmas. You know, I'd be concerned if it didn't. But it's not. To be honest, we are sort of busy all year round. We quite specialist in what we do. So we do a lot of custom built gaming systems. We buy a lot of custom built kitting for clients as well. So stuff that they can't get off the shelf. So yeah, whilst, you know, Christmas will be busy, and you know, I'd hope that we will sell more laptops this month or next month than any other. It's sort of, it's busy throughout the year, but yeah.
So if I came to you and said, I want you to make a laptop for me that's optimum for podcasting, could you do that for me?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, with laptops, with desktop PCs, we will build it to spec. So we will literally buy the parts and build that PC to spec. With laptops, what we do is we'll go out to people like HP, Acer, Asus, give them the spec that we feel that you need, and they will always come back with something that's suitable. So, you know, a lot of the kit we sell isn't on the shelf. We order it in, but it is specialist kit. Yeah,
it's really good. And, you know, after 18 months, Has it been a success? Has it been like an experiment for you, or is it like yes, this is what we're going to,
It's not really been an experiment. We've both been in the industry in Shrewsbury for a long time, so it was sort of the natural step for us to sort of open. Victoria's our sort of repairs manager, repairs guru, and she has a very big client base that will sort of, doesn't really matter where she is, will go and just because it's her.
That's cool.
So.
That's really cool.
So we've the sort of the natural progression for us was to open a place ourselves, and it's been a massive success.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you very much for coming to chat with me, because I know it's not. I've been doing it for a while now, so it's not scary to me. But I don't look at things from the outside kind of view, put a microphone in your face. But thank you very much for chatting with me.
Thank you very much.
You know what? I will probably pop when I get some money by. I do need something built for me, so I will pop in at some point and be like, Mike, help me.
No problem at all.
Oh, and where can people find you on social media, things like that?
So search Salop Technology, saloptechnology.co.uk. We're on Twitter as well. We are on Facebook, again, Salop Technology. Give us a shout.
Okay, so for all your computing needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, so guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I am your host, Alex Whiteley. Joined with me today at Biscuit Studios in the Parade is Jules. Jules Fox.
Hi.
How's it going? And we have on the show again the great and powerful Stan Sedman.
Hi.
The great and powerful Stan Sedman.
Yay!
This is how I ended up on Monopoly. I've got the gift of the gab, obviously. Thank you for joining us again.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it was the chat we had last time with Lorraine Fletcher was so well received. People loved hearing you on our show. So it's a real honour to have you on again, You should.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. We've got you here for a reason today, because obviously we're situated here at the Parade Shopping Centre, just behind St Mary's in town. We thought we'd get you on to talk a bit about the history. Let's talk about the history of the building, and who else to go to than Stan Sedman,
Okay. Well, let's start in the mid-18th century Shrewsbury. Approximately 7,000 inhabitants, most living within the area of the town walls.
Right.
And whilst the gentry and the wealthy were living in well-maintained areas and comfort, the poor of the town were in areas dilapidated and overcrowded, dark and airless dwellings, which were lice and vermin-ridden.
Nice.
That's setting the scene. And there's records of 16 people living in 2 rooms of one of the watchtowers.
What, on the town walls?
On the town walls, yeah.
Wow.
The streets were cobbled and were cluttered with questionable drainage. Roaming dogs added to the filth. Bed bugs thrived, as did other vermin. Drunkenness was habitual.
Bit like now.
Saturday night around the town.
And the quality of food was poor.
Yeah.
So that's the saying. And killing diseases abounded, such as contagious fever, which is typhus, intermittent fever, which is malaria, smallpox, putrid fever, sweating fever.
What's putrid fever?
Dilatory, the burning of the body and sickness and that sort of thing. Yeah. And of course, excessive alcohol caused cirrhosis of the liver, which led to many cases of dropsy, which was water collecting in the body.
Right.
And even children suffered horrifying effects of liquor. And records in 1757 showed that a prodigious number of children are cruelly murdered by these infernals called nurses, which were usually women of poor character who took in children from the parish for a fee. But they'd throw a spoonful of gin or some spirits down the child's throat to satisfy them. But it instantly strangled the child, and when the autopsy was there, it looked as though they'd had convulsions.
Oh.
So that was the sort of thing was going on. And in the mid-1700s, the Georgians, we often think of the Victorians as being the philanthropists of the world, but the Georgians in Shrewsbury created lots of things like schools for children and almshouses and things like that. And they were concerned about this. And a group of people, Sir Rowland Hill of Hawkston, Sir Richard Corbett of Longner, and Sir Thomas Whitmore and Sir Thomas Hill of Turn, these 4 people produced a leaflet termed A Proposal for Erecting an Infirmary for the Poor, Sick and Lame of this County and Neighbourhood. And that was published in 1737. So that's the situation with there. And they were determined to bring relief to their fellow human beings. The response was 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, a further announcement was made in 1746, emphasising the need for a local infirmary. Mention was made of the London hospitals, the success they'd had in counteracting the diseases there, and the newly established ones at Winchester, Bristol, Exeter and Nottingham. And they were up and running. And a public meeting was held in 1746, which agreed to form a committee, chaired by Lord Herbert, Baron of Cherbury, with Sir William Corbett of Adderley, John Mitten of Halston, William Lutwich of Lutwich, William Taylor of Roddington. And this committee resolved that a public infirmary should be established in Shrewsbury for the poor, sick and lame.
So that was like, there was only so many places around the country that had these. So this was pretty much state of the art, right? Is that what I'm getting?
We're in the lead.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury's up there with the lot. 5th place outside London, and to actually create it. So, how would you set it up? Well, there's no public funds at all, but you go for subscriptions and benefactions and things like that, and people would subscribe and people would hold functions. And people were co-opted across the county to actually raise money. And it would be the gentry of the people. People had the clout, as one would say.
Yeah.
You know, the treasurer was appointed yearly, and if you look at the list of treasurers, they were the very, very powerful men of the county who could call in favours, and people would follow the lead. So that was time. They looked at how to do it, and at that time there was a government instruction that if you had an infirmary, you had to appoint a apothecary, which is a surgeon basically, and a matron, a secretary, and a schoolmaster, which is quite interesting.
A schoolmaster in a hospital?
Yeah, for the children, along with nurses and staff as required by the numbers. So, having established these requirements, they set about creating the infirmary. So here we go. They started looking for a suitable location, and they came up with 2 possible sites. The first one was the quarry.
Oh, really?
Open space, public land.
Yeah.
And they looked there. And designs were drawn up by the architect Thomas Farnalls Pritchard, who was responsible for the Shrewsbury School building and St. Julian's Church and things like that. So he was a well-known one. But it was ruled out due to the cost.
Right.
Okay.
Even back then, cost's still an issue.
You want to do what?
The second choice, and the one that was eventually chosen, was Broom Hall, which was a residence partly completed of the late Corbett Kynaston in St. Mary's Churchyard, this area here.
Oh, so this was the churchyard?
And part of the churchyard, and 2 houses that were here. There were legal complications because of the wills and things like that, but that was got round, and they reached a rent for their buildings of £54 a year.
Bargain.
Not bad, is it? Funds had by that time reached £503, 5 shillings.
What, in today's money?
That's old money.
Oh, old money. Right, okay.
And the estimate for completion of the infirmary had been set at 500, so they had the money.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a delay because at that time we had the Jacobite Revolution, Bonnie Prince Charlie. But as things went on, tenders were put out for all sorts of things to do with the building and what have you. Perused by the committee. You have a committee. Sometimes committee creates camels, don't they? But in this case, they got on with it. And they arranged everything, the development of the place, and set it up. On the 25th of April, 1747, the Salop Infirmary opened its doors to the poor, sick and lame of this county. So that's the magic date, 25th of April, 1747.
Oh, wow. Was it greatly received? Do you know if it was greatly received?
Very much so.
1757 or 47?
47.
47, yeah.
By 1825, records show that there had been 35,690 inpatients had been admitted. Wow. 19,311 were discharged as cured. and 3,537 relieved. So we had the cured and the relieved.
What's the difference?
You're cured completely. The others, it relieves the problem. It might
right, okay,
might
yeah.
be broken leg or something like that.
Yeah.
And then outpatients, which are in addition to all these, total 56,719, of which 40,946 were cured and 5,579 were relieved.
The numbers are huge.
If you take the admissions, the cured and the relieved, there is a big gap.
Yeah.
No mention is mentioned of where the missing numbers went.
I mean, but back then, obviously, there was no NHS, obviously.
No.
And with it being for the poor, this hospital, how would that work? Because they can't afford the healthcare, right?
No, but it would be funded by the benefactors who would support a bed in a will or something like that, and they would fund that bed.
So that's your sponsors and
sponsoring. Lots of things were going on around the county. For example, there was lots of pressure for new subscriptions. As I said, that treasurer was the key man, wielding the whip. But I'll give you an example. One lady ran a bazaar, and she raised £1,078.07 for a bazaar back then in the 1800s. That's a lot of money to raise.
That's double what it cost to make it.
But don't forget, we were a very rich county.
That's true, yeah.
That's right. You had a lot of powerful people, gentry here.
Yeah.
So there we are. And then the population over the period of the Georgian period, it increased right up to 18,000 by 1826. And admissions were too much for the infirmary.
Right.
So it was resolved to build a new one. In 1827, they moved the patients from Broome Hall, that was then, up to Kingsland.
Right.
To where the schools are now, because that had been the Foundling Hospital.
Oh.
And it was empty. There'd been some prison wars in there.
Yeah.
It was empty. And so they moved them up there. There was a couple of complications, Could they use the privy in the garden?
Yeah.
And where do you bury your dead?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And those were resolved.
Where do you know where they buried the dead?
Around somewhere up in Kingston. I've never bothered to try and find out.
No.
But
Could be anywhere.
But there was always there was a pit there for the plague victims. So there's lots of remains in that area.
Oh wow!
And the foundation, the money was given. The old buildings were knocked down in 3 months, and the foundation stone for the new hospital was laid by the Right Honourable Lord Hill.
Right.
The gentry there all the time coming in. And it was built of Grinsell stone in plain Grecian style, with at its centre frontage a Doric portico. And at the top of the building on a tablet was inserted Salop Infirmary, established 1745, supported by voluntary subscriptions and benefactors, rebuilt 1830, E. Haycock's architect. And that's on the front of this building now.
Oh, okay. So that, you say Grinshill stone?
Yes.
So as in like the quarry up at Corbett Wood?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, local stone.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so what we've got a building. There's 4 stories. That's quite a building. In the basement were offices, a covered courtyard for coal, and the water storage for general supplies throughout the building. The principal floor was the boardroom, the dispensary, waiting rooms and admitting rooms. You'd have waiting rooms, then you'd admit them. Also apartments for the surgeon and matron, which 2 wards for accidents. So a Georgian accident emergency basically sitting there. The first floor was fitted up for male patients with 7 wards, a day room, scullery and bathrooms. The second floor similarly laid out for ladies, with a large well-lit room for operations, and with 2 communicating side wards from the operations. In the attics were 4 more rooms, but that's where the nurses lived, in the attic.
Oh, okay, right.
Quite dismal conditions. And some of the conditions, the nurses, they had 2 nights off a week.
That's it?
That was it. And then there was a big argument going on, and they were eventually given 1 day off a week. They were allowed 1 day off a week. So those were the conditions.
Gosh.
So pretty strict sort of situations. But in September 1830, the new infirmary was brought into use. because this new image and people want to be linked to this, you know, it's like people like to link to something new, you know, and benefactors continued to roll in, swelling the funds, and the reputation of the hospital grew, and it became well known throughout the country as giving a good service. In 1833, the very first royal visit took place. The Duchess of Kent came to see the services provided. So they were interested in what was being provided in the provinces for these hospitals. Various other buildings were brought into use because obviously space was needed all the time. And alterations were continually taking place. Balconies were added on the riverside to give people the fresh air looking out there. The left-hand block was added on in 1908, 1910. So they were extending all the time. The nurses, as I said earlier on, were stuck up in the attic. Not very good conditions for the working conditions. And people felt they needed something. So in 1907, it was obvious there was need for a nurses' home.
Yeah.
And at the time, they replaced these conditions. As a temporary measure, they were given accommodation in Quarry Place, which eventually became a nursing home. And on the 5th of November, and I remember 5th of November because it's my regimental battle on a day, Battle of Vinkerman, I'll throw that in. Captain Hayward Lonsdale laid the foundation stone, and his wife formally opened the buildings in November 1910.
Right.
So once again, the gentries are there, they're opening, they're laying the stones, they're opening the place. In 1912, a new up-to-date X-ray unit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, was donated by Mr. and Mrs. Corkerdale, and many other donation items over the years, giving him additional beds, facilities, all sorts of things were given in. And in 1914, when he was visiting the Royal Agricultural Show in Monkmore, King George V visited the hospital.
Wow, I know.
And he was so impressed. On his appreciation speech, he granted it the title Royal. Okay, so in 1914, it became the Royal Salop Infirmary. Right?
Wow.
That was
RSI.
the magic day. All right. The local benefactors would be thrilled to bits with that.
They were part of it.
They were part of it. They would meet the king, what have you. And then in 1919, proposals were considered for building an auxiliary hospital as a memorial to the people that had fallen in the First World War. And it was decided, with that money, they were going to build an extension alongside the infirmary.
Right.
And this was made possible from the County War Memorial Fund, which provided money for war memorials around. And the wing would consist of 22 beds for children and 8 maternity beds. And if you went to the far end of this grey stone building, you'll see a brick extension going out further on. That is that war memorial. And you can't read it, but just outside the cafe, the Terrace Cafe, on the wall, you can just see what is obviously a stone, and you can just see some faint lines. And on it says, the foundation stone reads, to the glory of God and for the benefit of mankind, the foundation stone of the extension to the Royal Salop Infirmary, erected as a county war memorial, was laid on December the 19th, AD 1925, by the Most Honourable the Marchioness of Cambridge.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that stone, I only found it recently. I've been looking for ages and I look in the wrong place, and I found it the other day, and it's really difficult to read.
Right.
You can get a thing, it's called gravestone cleaner.
Yeah.
And if you spray it on, it lifts the word in. And I'm going to have a word with the people and see if we can do that.
Yeah, that's a good
because
shout.
I think it's important.
Is it sandstone? Is it
No, it looks quite hard stone.
Oh, okay.
You know, and you can
So
just
it
see
should.
it should come up all right. Okay? So we've got that extension. And then during the Second World War, they built an operating theatre on the roof.
Oh, right, okay.
So above
the
what
roof.
was the nurses' quarters?
Yeah, they built up there. Yeah, because the nurses had moved out.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And they built a top concrete veranda and balcony was constructed to link the two cross wings, and a 5-storey sluice block was added. And a place called Singfeld in Kingsland, a large house in Kingsland, was taken over for additional accommodation for nurses and also as preliminary training school. And I've actually taken people on tours of Kingsland who actually can remember being there as a young nurse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there we are. And this is all running on voluntary contributions and benefactions and people leaving money in the will.
Yeah.
And then 1948 was taken over.
Yeah.
And the government came in, National Health Scheme.
Yeah.
Incidentally, in Oren Bevan's talk about the National Health Service, he refers to William Clement of Shrewsbury as being the instigator of much of what the NHS stands for.
Oh, really?
And he was refused permission to become a surgeon here, which he was spread. He was a doctor in the town. He lived in the Castle Court down there. Because of his liberal views, he was mayor and MP for Shrewsbury, and he was blackballed by some of the people. He couldn't get in.
Because a lot of what this place stands for from the very beginning is your early model for an NHS, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Everything about it. Yeah. And of course, Dr. Darwin, Robert Darwin's father, worked on and off here for 42 years, providing his service. A lot of it would be voluntary. A lot of these people coming in.
Yeah.
You know how doctors are massively, they're paid a really good wage nowadays. Was that the case back then?
They would have their private practices which would they get their money.
Yeah.
But a lot of the thing for the poor, and particularly you read the story of Darwin, he'd treat people for nothing. He'd give them, he'd say, you bring the bottle and I'll give you the medicine, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was taken over and a board of management was created. And once again. And it's sad because over the years, so many local people had raised money for this building and thing. But then additional locations came in. Sorry, pardon.
Oh, that's fine.
Additional locations came into fold. So there's a Monkmore Insulation Hospital. That was used for children. They moved the children out there. There was a military hospital, which is now Copthorne North.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And that was taken in and used, and geriatrics went there and things like that over the years. And much discussion was held about what do you do? Can we continue here? Can this survive in this environment?
The population's growing, isn't it?
It's growing and growing, and demands and the quality of treatment is changing, and
I
what
guess
have
with
you.
the war as well, with the war brings lots of...
all those sort of problems. We've just seen it in the Afghanistan, the change in treatment, trauma treatment, because of the injuries that are caused there.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of thing going on. Anyway, they looked around where they could do, and eventually Copthorne was chosen as where they would build the new hospital.
Right.
And 0 hour for the Royal Salop Infirmary in this location was 8 a.m. on Sunday, the 20th of November, 1977.
Oh.
Wow.
So
That was 0 hour.
1977.
And throughout its 230 years of life, it has served the people of the county well, giving its best to all those who cross the threshold. And that's what you can look at. So that closed, and we've got this Grade 2 listed building.
Yes.
What do you do with it? It's offered up to various organisations, public bodies and what have you. Nobody wanted it. I mean, you've got to think of the work involved. However, it was saved. A man called Bob Freeman came along, a local businessman who bought it in 1980.
So it was empty for sort of a good
About
3
years, yes. Yeah, while the discussions were going on, it was. At one time, they were thought about putting a theatre here.
Okay.
That was one of the thoughts. And he restored the building. He didn't just restore it, he transformed it. Because it doesn't feel like a hospital.
No.
It's a community, it's an environment. And the operating theatre on the roof was demolished, along with the concrete balconies. The sluice and the boiler rooms were all demolished. Stonework was repaired and replaced with stone to the original design. Okay. The corridor plan of the original hospital enabled the top 3 floors to be converted into 31 apartments.
Oh, that's how many's up there. I did wonder.
Yeah. And the lower 2 floors became specialist shopping units. And in my opinion, it's a haven worth exploring. Its variety and its quality of provision.
Yep.
You come down here, it's quite vibrant. It's a quiet place, but there's a lot going on. You go along there, there's children doing things. You go upstairs, there's a top-class tailor.
Yeah.
There's hairdressers. There's things like podcasts sitting in the...
Opposite DCM Antiques, which is full of war medals.
Yes, a lot, fantastic that, and the stamp collector and things like that.
We'd speak to him today. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So what we now have is a beautiful building, which after a life of public service is still serving the local community. And it's had its own glory. It's appeared on 1984 Christmas Carol.
Of course it has.
Yes, let's talk about that. The Christmas Carol.
That was outside it. The front of it was used as the outside of the corn exchange.
Yep.
And that's where you see Scrooge walking across, coming up from Wynn's house down there, walking that direction. Right. There's children skating on plastic covered with artificial snow. There's people playing their instruments, there's carol singers. And it was a major part there. And so it played its part. And it's appeared in TV things like Most Haunted.
Tell us a bit about that as well.
Yeah, there's various stories here. When Martin Wood finished school, he had a job as a porter here in the Porter's Lodge as a junior porter. And they used to talk a man called Fred, who used to come and stand at the stable door and just wait there and then just disappear. And they reckon it was the spirit of someone who used to come to the hospital for alms, because that's what they would do. They would come to the back door to get remnants of food and things like that. There's the lady, the matron, as it's called, who still technically is heard to say patrols the corridor, walking up and down. And that was built into a story on Most Haunted, twisted a little bit.
Yeah.
But the one thing, and I've spoken to night nurses who used to work here, and what would happen, they'd be sitting there, and if you imagine a ward at night, you'd have the night nurse in the centre of the ward with the beds going down the side, like a Nightingale ward. And she'd be there documenting things, treating, giving tablets and what have you, keeping an eye on things. And they say a lady would walk in to the ward and stand at the bottom of the bed. And they knew that within a certain period of time, that person would die, would not recover.
Oh, my God.
Oh, scary.
And I've heard it for a number of things, but 2 people who actually say they know it's a fact have told me that. So I take that quite often because you hear of it in other hospitals of this era. You don't hear about new hospitals.
No.
But also this era is where you get those visitations. So whether there's any truth in that one, I think it's a possibility.
This is quite an old Gothic-y looking building, isn't it? Whereas hospitals, modern day hospitals look very clinical.
Yes.
So you don't get that kind of eeriness. You kind of just expect it to go about business 24 hours a day. Whereas this place, you look at it and you think, ooh.
There's little nooks and crannies when you walk along the corridor and there's a little recess and things like that,
Yeah. So with this matron though, so obviously that was like you've spoken to nurses, which served here, obviously, probably not long prior its closure. So what era do they think the matron might have come from?
Don't know. There was because if you read back about the matrons, there was a series of matrons, and it was so hard working. The number of them, some of them died in office.
Right.
Some of them just left and just died with the pressure of the work that they'd gone under. So could it be one of those?
Yeah.
And we're talking about the era, the Georgian era, that sort of period. I mean, life wasn't hard. I mean, they were very, very strict rules on the amount of food they got, how many ounces of meat, how many pints of beer. I mean, that was all part of the rations of the beer. And things like that. The food was very strictly controlled. Yeah. And they'd keep tight reins of the money. And it would be a difficult time for people to run the place. Yeah. Relying on benefactors and that sort of thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How long did it take to convert? Because then obviously you said in 1980 it's Bob Freeman.
Bob Freeman, yeah.
Yeah, obviously purchased, and then. But how long did it take for him to convert it so that like people could move into the apartments and units could come in, or shops could come into the units?
I honestly don't know, and because I wasn't here at that time.
Yeah.
I remember it being closed, and then I was disappeared off.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the Freemans would be able to tell you, or they'd be able to tell you that, but I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And you were saying about the nurses. You know the building's just along from us.
The nurses' home.
Yeah. Is that was where the nursing home?
That was the nurses' living accommodation.
So, nurses' quarters. So out of the attic and into those very nice looking buildings.
A beautiful building. The architect was Lloyd Oswell, who was the architect for the Halifax Building Society.
Yep.
The girls' high school.
Yeah.
And it's Ruaban brick.
Yeah.
Lovely brick. I mean, it's a super building.
Yeah.
And it's a big building.
Because there are apartments in there now, aren't they?
And some really nice apartments. When they were altering the apartments, I went and had a look. And
did you?
Yeah, and had a look in there, and they were very good, very nice.
I'm always curious as well about the setup of this building, because obviously when you walk around that, you were talking about bazaar, those kind of those Eastern shops. It's got that sort of feel.
Yes, especially if you walk in that way.
Yes.
As against coming down the stairs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you walk in there and you've got that feeling. You know?
Yeah, everything is like arched round into their own little cells. But as you look into some of the shops, like where we are in the studio right now, there's like, these look like doorways. They look like they're probably walks that they used to walk through. Yeah. You're always curious about what the place.
But we're in the basement, aren't we? So
yes.
What did you say the basement was?
There was it was offices and things like that.
Yes, that would make sense then, wouldn't it?
And stores.
And the morgue, apparently.
Yes, and the morgue.
Yeah. Was the morgue
down here?
Part of the attachment?
Yes, attached on here.
Right, okay,
Okay. I was very lucky to pop to the architects in the building across here. That was the more modern morgue, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Downstairs, apparently, was the morgue. And I got to go up to speak to the architects there and look at the computer, the things that they'd worked on and stuff. Fascinating buildings. This corner of Shrewsbury, with St. Mary's, with this hospital, is just rife with history. It's there's so much you could talk about, isn't there?
Can you imagine recovering and you're out on the balcony getting the fresh air and you're looking over that beautiful view, the vista?
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. If you stand on there, you can talk about princes being born just there.
Yeah, of course.
Prince Richard, Duke of York, who was one of the princes that was allegedly murdered in the Tower of London. He was born just over the wall there. People from the Battle of Shrewsbury were buried there because they were killed as a result of their injuries. They died, and they were buried there. And I've had people on tours who were actually school children, were part of the investigation before they built the new Blackfriars, and they were digging up skeletons of people.
Oh, wow.
Dated from then.
Oh, my gosh.
So much.
At the back here, you've got the bank going down.
That's really steep as well, isn't it?
There was quite a lot of slippage at one time,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of metal and concrete in there. But in 1985, I think it was, Shrewsbury, under the leadership of George Hill, who had Jones's furniture shop in Mardle, won Britain in Bloom. And then the next year, they came second in Europe in bloom.
Wow.
And he planted daffodils on there.
Oh, okay.
And in the spring, they used to come out and it would spell out Britain in Bloom 1985, Europe in Bloom 1986. And they were there for many years. Still, some of the daffodils come back, but they've died and that sort of thing. It's so. But you stand there and you look out. You look on the English Bridge. You look across the Abbey. You look across the Lord Hill's column. The view you've got is amazing.
We were just out there this morning recording some social media. We were just doing Facebook things, and you look at that view and it's breathtaking.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the princes. You've got the signal box, the world's largest hand-operated signal box.
Yeah.
The tallest freestanding Doric column.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all in front of you. You know.
And that's what's beautiful about Shrewsbury, isn't it? I mean, we could take the Tascam and we could stand on there for about an hour with you. It's a handheld microphone, and we could talk for an hour.
Yeah.
But that's
Without even moving, you could just stand in one spot and you just go. You can talk about Arthur Rowley playing football on the meadow, the meadow opening in 1910, there, and then moving off up to.
Is there a tour that I know you do a bit on your tour here, sort of outside and stuff like that? But is there a tour in place where people can do that?
I think it's like anything. If somebody wanted to do a tour, if they went to the Visitor Information Centre and said they wanted a tour of this area, they would find somebody to do it.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah, because I think it'd be fascinating. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're walking around the parade and you're looking at the shops, just think about where you actually are, because this history is well documented. I guess it's all there. Where did you do your research? Where can people go and find out about these things?
A lot of the records, you can go into the archives and find records. People have written about it as well, and you can just gather it in and put bits together from different sources.
Do you know of any pictures of what this place used to look like while it was a hospital? Have you heard of anything?
There'll be some in the archives.
Yeah,
shops or archives are bound to have some.
Yeah,
I'll be 100% certain they would have them.
Yeah. I bet they would.
We'll see if we can get something.
Fascinating.
Because you've got the plan. I mean, there's drawings here, isn't there? On this, it is on this floor, isn't it?
Yeah, there's
like a schematic. Of like the layout of the old hospital. So
But pictures of the wards and the nurses, the way the nurses dressed and everything, that sort of thing.
It's just quite fascinating that one of the, I guess, in my consideration, one of the most important buildings in Shrewsbury is tucked away in this corner of the town.
Every building, whatever, how big or small, has had people in it.
Yes.
And every person has their own story.
Yeah.
And from there you build a picture.
Yeah.
And the more you go around Shrewsbury, the more fascinating it becomes. You look out a window and you see something, you think, who walked along there?
Yeah.
What happened here? It's breathtakingly fascinating in Shrewsbury.
Yeah,
absolutely is.
Me and Shane were walking down that hill, where the hive is.
Yes.
That really steep hill.
Yeah.
Back of the Lion, and he was like, "Oh, these cobbles." He was stamping on them. And he was like, "These have been here for hundreds of years. If cobbles could tell stories."
Yes, and buildings do tell stories if you research them.
Yeah.
I'm just researching for a talk next year. I'm researching the quarry.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
Maybe you can clear something up for us as well. Actually, I saw it on Facebook. The new Monopoly board, which we were part of. Thank you very much. There was a debate going on about the quarry or the quarry park, because they put the quarry park on the board, and people were like, "It's the quarry. We know it as the quarry. It's not the quarry park."
It is the with the small t, quarry with a capital Q.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's derived from the word quarrel, where you quartered stones and you carved stones and things like that.
Yeah. So it's never been Quarry Park?
Never been Quarry Park, but the reason that it's slowly crept in as a Quarry Park is when people are bidding for funds for various things, from different benefactors, the problem is if you put the quarry, they think it's a quarry.
Yeah.
They don't realise it's a public park.
Yeah.
And that place is absolutely steeped with stories.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful place. The more I'm looking at it, I'm still started on it, and it really is absolutely
I was reading something, I think...
So there's going to be some tours, is there, in 2020 that you're doing for the quarry?
I don't know.
Go on, say there is.
I saw something for the Love of Shrewsbury. I think it might have been Lorraine that shared it, about how they used to wash the stones in the river and it caused lots of pollution, or I don't know if that was something along those lines where it made the water a funny colour. He's shaking his head. I don't know. I read something.
Never heard that one.
No. But, maybe for another day.
But there's lots of things. We talked about Lord Hill.
Yeah.
Lord Hill, when he came back from the Peninsular Wars, there were so many people that were getting trampled because the welcome he was given in the quarry.
Oh my God.
Because it was a public space,
And there's the flower show as well. It's been going on.
I mean, originally the Burgesses, the freemen of the town, owned it. And then slowly it became local government. And one of the best things is that when we went unitary town council, the town council retained it.
Yeah.
And they've got that control.
Yeah.
And I walk through there regularly, and it's brilliant. all sorts of little stories linked to it, you know.
And it's like, I know like the Dingle is one of the most photographed parts of Shrewsbury ever, but it is one of the most tranquil places. The things you can go and look at, there's the statue that's behind the
What was Sabrina?
The Sabrina.
There's so much you can just go in and reflect about, you know, and that's really important to have something like that in your town, because not everybody has that.
Nope.
They really don't.
And we get visited night herons and black swans.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's all this sort of thing comes into it.
Yeah. Beautiful Shrewsbury.
We are. Anyway, there we are.
Thank you very much for joining us, Stan.
Fascinating.
Again,
Really
you know,
fascinating.
You're a star, an
pleasure.
absolute star. People do love hearing your voice on our show, so we'll have to come up with something. We'll have to give you a building every couple of months to talk about.
Yeah, something new.
It's all the dates and everything on there.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Have you got anything that you want to tell people about? Anything coming up that you'd like to draw people's attention to?
No, just be proud of your town.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we've got problems, lots of little things you can niggle out, but just be proud of what we've got.
Yeah.
And welcome people that visit.
Yeah.
If you see somebody with a map, see if you can help them, you know, and that sort of thing. And I think that's the important thing. Just be proud and look after it.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely.
I second that, because I've seen that. I have seen a lot of people that are taking pictures and happily enjoying themselves around our town. And yeah, it's really nice to see. Let's encourage that.
Yeah. Like you say as well, it's about people being proud. You know, I suppose the good example that was on our, obviously for the Love of Shrewsbury Facebook page was, you know, the Dana Bridge just been completed, and then behold, graffiti already, and, you know, a picture of that chap trying to clean it off.
Yes.
And that's what you want, is people to do that.
And there are dozens and dozens of people around here. When I did Shrewsbury in Bloom, I met a lot of people who beavered away in the background. And with the Love of Shrewsbury tours and the money going to different charities, you see that little group of people who are doing lots of things for other people, willingly, voluntary, for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And the atmosphere, I mean, did you go to the light switch on them?
I did.
To see those children who made those lanterns walking down the street with their parents was fantastic.
And then they got to have their moment on the stage as well, which was lovely.
I could hear stuff. I could hear the band when they came through marching, because I was working in the market hall, so I could hear everything, but I couldn't see anything out of the windows.
I think next year I'm going to get my little boy to make a lantern.
Oh, it's fantastic! And they walk along, and they're part of the parade, you know.
Yeah.
And I was on the Remembrance Day parade going through town, and it was absolutely packed. I've never known a Remembrance Day parade like it. This year's was incredible. No, there's a lot of feeling in the town, and I think anything to help it is a good thing. Yeah, it really is.
Which is why you being on the show is very important, because we've shared that knowledge now, and we can carry on doing so. Thank you so much for joining us, Stan.
Yeah, thank
Pleasure.
you.
Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you very much. We will.
And keep Jules under the thumb.
Oh, steady.
She keeps me in line, actually. Her and Shane. You know what? They have to remind me to sleep sometime, to like to go to bed. Stop working.
And I've got to-do lists on the wall up there behind me.
She is an absolute light bulb, this lady. She's amazing. The ideas she brings to the show. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
So guys, there we go. That's our first day at the parade done. It's there, and I'm quite proud of that, actually. I know it's a mishmash of audio, but I'm really grateful to everyone that came in, and it was a great start, you know. And I want to say thank you to everybody that came and did that with us, from my son Timmy. I thought that was cool to give him his first little debut on the show, on a show that's already a mishmash of different types of audio. Gill at Beadles, she's lovely. Mike at Salop Technology, what a great guy he is. I feel like we're going to work together again, I feel. And Stan Sedman for giving us that amazing bit of history about the parade. Absolutely mesmerised while he was talking about that. And also to Julie. The whole team have been working really hard towards this. And Julie's really good at keeping me motivated, keeping the team going, coming up with fresh ideas. She really has been working so hard. And also to Shane, who's I give him this competition to look after for the Monopoly winner, who I will announce on next week's show. But he has been working really hard with that as well, monitoring all that. So well done to the team. Thank you to everybody that joined us. And, if you got anything to suggest to throw onto the show, make sure you email us. Our email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can just, of course, message us on Facebook. Hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. And I hope you join us for next week's show when we will be talking to the town crier, Martin Wood. Hopefully I've got a mic stand big enough to reach him. But either way, I can't wait to join you for that one next week. So guys, much love, stay safe, and peace out.